always had an open mind, and the fact that I no longer believe in a religion or a worldview that I was indoctrinated with is the evidence of my open-mindedness and of people like me. However, some people stay in the same worldview or a frame of mind they were born into. This is not just terribly sad, but it also shows us closed-mindedness of people like Daniel and Peter too. I'm sorry to say this in advance if this debate gets rough and out of hand, because it's very hard to respect my opponent, as he pretends to be a serious.
Okay, so let me address that. Like, changing your view is evidence that you're open-minded, you're open to evidence, changing your worldview over time. So let's take that statement of Harris. Is that even true? Just because you change your worldview, that somehow indicates intelligence. I don't see how that follows. In fact, I think the opposite. I think people change their views for many reasons, change their entire worldviews for many reasons. Their influence of the environment, influence of media, influence of friends and family. There are many reasons that you can change your worldview. It's not necessarily an indication of being more intelligent or being, more in tune with the truth. So that's a stupid point. And also, let's just concede that, okay, fine, changing your view is somehow indicative of your intelligence or your open-mindedness. Well, in that case, I have changed my view in two big ways over my life. I went from being Shia to being Sunni, so that was a big change, and that was based on my research and certain things I studied. And I talk about it extensively on the Sunnah Discourse channel. I did an interview if you're interested in that. But that's one example in my life. And the second example in my life is that I had all of these kinds of liberal sentiments and this understanding of freedom and equality, unqualified. This is the best way of life, a Western liberal worldview, even a feminist worldview. And I've talked about this in the past. And it was through research, it was through discussion, it was through learning from teachers that I saw how wrong that worldview is. And so I dropped it. I dropped that liberal, secular, feminist worldview, even though the whole time I considered myself Muslim. That's the thing. You can be Muslim and still operate under this broader, liberal, secular paradigm or worldview or whatever you want to call it. And that's bad because you have a lot of Muslims who are liberal Muslims because they accept that worldview, and it leads to a lot of problems. It's the stepping stone to apostasy for many people, unfortunately. And you see it also with Christians who they're Christian by name, they might go to church, they might read the Bible, but all of their understanding of the world, all of their understanding of what is right and wrong is coming from liberal dominant modernity. So this is something that is the dominant worldview, the secular liberal worldview. The question is, has Harris changed his worldview? Or was he in Pakistan? I think he's from Pakistan, right? I'm not sure if he's from Pakistan or India or somewhere else, but he's living in Australia right now. That's what I know. But was he just a liberal, like one of these liberal Muslims, and then he couldn't reconcile his liberalism with Islam? He read about concubines. He read about the ghazawat, the conquests, and that conflicted with his liberal worldview, so he dropped Islam. It's not like he was in a fully Islamic worldview and then he converted to a liberal worldview by leaving Islam. No, he was always liberal. He was always liberal, and then he just realized that liberalism conflicts with his Islam, so he chose what he already believed. That is a better assessment of change in worldview than what he proposed, right? So I don't know actually his history. I don't know how he became a non-Muslim. I genuinely don't. But so I'm not going to presume that that's the case, but I would just point that out. Don't let these atheists and these Murtads pretend like they're just so much more open-minded and so much more brilliant. They're operating in a dominant system. The dominant system in the world globally is this atheistic, secular, liberal human rights system. That's the dogma, and that's the orthodoxy. And Muslims who question that, who critique that, we are the heretics. We are the defectors from that system, and we're punished for it. We're constantly punished for it, and we face a lot of bad consequences in our daily lives. Consequences in terms of our livelihood, in terms of our family, our ability to get married, our ability to travel, our ability to live lives without being constantly harassed by security agencies, by governments, and not just in the West, in the Muslim world, everywhere, the whole globe, because you have this dominant control grid. So we are the ones who are actually going against the tide, not these atheists, but they have to constantly prop themselves up and pretend like they're these, brilliant minds.